The all-new Yamaha V6 Offshore F350. It's a featherweight knockout, the lightest 350 horsepower outboard on the water, exhilarating boating and incredible control in a powerfully light design. The Yamaha V6 Offshore F350.
The Fishing News is sponsored by these fine partners.
Memorial Day weekend here at Creekside Outfitters on Route 9 in Waretown, where the tent sale is going on, getting ready for offshore. We have all the nomads, but the matter of the chatter is a blowout sale on everything chatter lures. Anything and everything chatter, living life Creekside. It's Thursday, May 23rd. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman Magazine, looking ahead towards this three-day holiday weekend and the unofficial start of summer here at the Jersey Shore 2024. It's Memorial Day weekend, of course, so as much as we all appreciate that extra day off, let's not forget the reason. And that's to honor those who've given the ultimate sacrifice to this great country of ours. My thanks to each and every one of you who served, and God bless those we have lost. Now, the June edition of the Fisherman Magazine is out this week. That's Sean Smeda on the cover. A photo by Jenny Ackerman. I was part of that early April drum invasion in the Barnegat Bay. Now that bite, of course, was off the hook. Folks were talking about how they'd never seen anything like that behind Seaside Park, and it lasted for several days. And it got a lot of folks into their very first black drum ever, folks using clam, not just by boat, but also the surf casters on the backside there did pretty well. So if you get that June edition this week, I want you to turn to the table of contents. You'll find what's on tap in the New Jersey, Delaware Bay region. We've got some old school reminiscing in the days BSM, before social media. I love that. Black sea bass fishing, some outstanding trolling motor fluke tactics that you can put to practice right away with this season if you're trying to get wind against tide and get yourself through that. And there's also a freshwater spotlight in there with a heavy emphasis on Round Valley Reservoir. Now, look at that table of contents. Turn to page 24. That's Nick Honachesky's article on Delaware Bay drum. We're in the thick of it there. Now on both sides, the Delaware side and the New Jersey side of the Delaware Bay. Some solid reports on big boomers in that lower half of the Garden State down into Delaware. This is a terrific article by Nick, not just on Delaware Bay fishing, but it's also going to tell you about those stretches along the central Jersey coast right now up into Ocean County that's happening right now. And Nick spotlights a little bit about what you need to know to get in on that surf bite. In fact, it's so good, again, out front this time, not in Barnegat Bay, but out front, that we'd already gone to print on Monday morning when Nick Honachesky texted me, he goes, "Stop the presses, I got a cover for you." I was like, well, it's a few hours late, my friend. But Nick had 10 drum releases in the Ocean County surf on Monday. He called it, quote, "best I've seen it in the surf." In fact, Mickey Diener Melchiondo, the band Ween, he said, quote, "I can finally cross black drum off my list." I'm hoping to cross lead guitar off my list, but that ain't gonna happen. A lot of reports, though, just like this. In fact, our lead image for the week was from Ocean City Fishing Club member Trish Daly, who sent me this shot of her nephew Tyler after a trip to the beach, black drum. Elizabeth Rebus, Dave Urell, had 14 drum at Island Beach on Sunday in 2 hours of fishing. And Stella and Leah, ages 8 and 9, both got on drum with their dad, Greg, all caught on a 10-foot Lamiglass rod made by the late Ponytail Mike of Grumpy's. Even saw a report this week nearby at Betty and Nick's, I believe that was on Wednesday, about a red drum on the beach. So not just black drum, but maybe some red drum in the mix as well. And, of course, it's not just Ocean County. It's happening, that surf action, hot and heavy for black drum, down into Brigantine, across the Absecon Inlet, into Atlantic City, all the way down on the way to Cape May. Manny Butera told me Tuesday, quote, "Stone Harbor on fire." Man, a few words, but big action. Nice black drum and a couple of stripers, all on the incoming tide within an hour of the high, and all on clams. Manny said, "This is turning out to be one of my better weeks down here." And there you go. You're going to have plenty of company as the week progresses, Manny. Again, for tips and tactics for drumming in the surf, go to that June edition of the Fisherman Magazine. It's all laid out on page 24. Plus the entire glossy section with another 5 feature stories to help you get dialed into the local action here in the New Jersey, Delaware Bay region.
Need boat insurance? There's a reason Muller Insurance Agency has been in business for over a century. When you need them most, their commitment to service and support will give you peace of mind and protect your investment. Visit mullerinsurance.com or call 201-659-2403.
So yeah, striped bass in the surf along the entire stretch, the entire Jersey shore. Even doing reports this week for the June edition, Eric Burnley reported some stripers at Indian River Rocks, the inlet rocks down there in Delaware, for guys on the night shift throwing bucktails and SP minnows. Bluefish as well throughout the entire stretch. So far, so good in terms of bluefish. We talked about that early this spring, thinking that this could be a good season for bluefish, and so far it is. Bunker chunks in the surf for bass and blues. Go with fresh clams, 3-way. For bass and drum. Plugging is also an option for those bluefish and stripers, of course. I've heard of some good numbers of striped bass still in the back bays and salty rivers. Sienna Sakowitz was plugging away under the dock lights in Upper Barnegat Bay with her trusty Rapala X-Rap. Dad Greg said they were also hitting Z-Man, minnows, the Minnow Z paddle tails. And my buddy Chris Madison, he said he found stripers blowing up on the shallow flats in Atlantic County, somewhere along the sod banks, over the weekend. Took a shine to pink and silver, and he was using a John Creeley custom Sod Pigs rod as well. Jumbo stripers, of course, on the prowl out front, and especially in northern waters, where the arrival of the Delaware spawning stock and the Chesapeake, Maryland spawning stock, they get up to where the connection of Long Island, Brooklyn, and New Jersey is, and then those bass are dropping out of the Hudson. So some good action, of course, on live eels, which are almost as hard to come by right now as those schools of bunker. Very strange. Yes, it is, but the bunker are there. I've had some questions about folks saying, those reduction boats, they're working inside state waters. No, it's not possible. There's a state law here in New Jersey that restricts the reduction industry, those folks from Omega Protein. They're not allowed in state waters to catch bunker, to reduce that into meal, into fish meal. The only boats you're going to see beyond 0.6 of a mile out to the 3-mile line are the bait boats that are catching our bait. If you see otherwise, if you see the reduction fleet in close, shoot me some video, shoot me some photos, get the GPS coordinates, let me know. This past Thursday's weather forecast was doom and gloom heading into StriperQuest on the Raritan Bay, but it actually wasn't as treacherous outside as the NOAA marine weather forecast had called. No doubt the northeast swells cut down a bit in terms of Long Island's South Shore in relation to where we were in Sandy Hook. But we put more than 80 gray fish tag research spaghetti tags into fish upwards of 49 pounds. The Fish Circus team from Penn and Tackle Direct won the competitive tagging program, narrowly beating out Guy Buono's Crunch Crew, and also the Dirty Bassers, the old Dirty Bassers. They came in third. Congratulations to all you folks there. And of course, we deployed, I believe, 4 more mini-pat devices to track the movements of a few of these larger stripers over the course of a few 4 to 5 months. So we'll know what they did during the summer months. We'll have more information on that in the days ahead, in particular, coming in our July edition of the Fisherman Magazine. We're going to write up that event, StriperQuest 2024. We also have some tag returns from a fish tagged in November. Pretty exciting stuff as well. A big supporter of the Northeast Striper study, the striped bass study with gray fish tag research, and the folks at the Fisherman Magazine, are our friends at the Berkeley Striper Club. They're going to kick off their annual striped bass catch and release spring tournament this Saturday, May 25th. That event is open to surf and boat, all catch and release stripers, and it runs through Sunday, June 2nd. In addition to you participating in this great tournament to win some prizes, you're also supporting the Berkeley Striper Club's Fisheries Defense Fund, which in turn, it helps a lot of different programs, including our fish tag striper efforts for the Northeast Striper study. If you want more information about that tournament that starts on Saturday, Go to berkeleystriperclub.org or find more info in the local seaside tackle shops. And again, I would point you into the June edition of the Fisherman Magazine. You're not going to find a calendar of events like ours anywhere else. So it's going to dial you in, tune you into everything that's going on every single weekend here in the New Jersey, Delaware Bay region. On this week's Open Boat, Jenny had a chance to talk to Rockfish Smarties captain Chris Buchta on metal lip selection while out at StriperQuest. And the two of them did a deep dive going into the ins and outs of fishing metal lips for striped bass. That's where we are now. The bunker that are around, those bass are actively feeding in warm water. The metal lips will get it done. Check it out. Jenny and Chris tell you how.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Open Boat. Today we're here at StriperQuest, the captain's meeting, and we're here with Captain Chris of Rockfish Smarty, and he has been slaying big stripers on metal lip swimmers, and he's going to give you a little rundown on how to fish different types of metal lips. So we got some examples here.
All right, here we go. I have Z-Shore. This is not a very deep diver. It goes around 5-6 feet. If you bend the nose, this round circle right here, just up. Up means down, so if you bend it up, it'll go deeper. If you bend it down, it'll go shallower. I like this in Raritan Bay, shallow water, like under 15 feet. And bunker color, one of my go-tos.
That's one of the big things a lot of people forget is they'll try to bend the lip themselves, but you got to bend the eyelid.
Right, never. I almost never touch the lip if I don't have to, almost never. The eye only. Maybe change the hooks if you want to go to a heavier hook, that's fine. C80 C's are great deep diver, great for in the ocean, like 50 feet of water, 40 feet of water. It'll dive down to 18 to 20. So what I like to do is when I cast this out, get a couple of 5-6 real fast cranks, get that plug down as deep as you can, and then a nice steady retrieve. Maybe a pause here and there if they're being a little finicky. And yep, nice and deep. And my third favorite, well, not my third favorite, but another favorite, Salty Degenerate. Guy's hot off the press. This guy's making sick plugs. Same thing, deep. I hit bottom in 18 feet of water with this plug. I really don't have to touch anything. It swims so good out of the box. But if you want to, like again, bend the eye up a little bit if you want to go a little deeper. Multiple fish in the ocean, like 40-pound fish, no problem. You see his Instagram, it's amazing. And that's it. Those are my faves.
All right, so that's really informative. Like I know a lot of people have no clue with how to adjust a plug or how to fish different shapes of metal lips. So that was really helpful, and hopefully get some guys on some big fish this season.
That's it. Throw them. Thank you.
Black sea bass is back in play here at the Jersey Shore through June 19th. Plenty of headboat sailing for biscuits in the weekend ahead. Why biscuits? Because they're so darn good you don't even need anything but maybe a little pat of butter. Tough sailing for those first few days. That season opened on Friday, and all the nasty weather we had, it certainly impacted a little bit. But the good thing is that just means those fish had a couple of extra days to hide. But looking ahead towards the NOAA marine forecast out of Atlantic City, it appears to be quite the peach in the weekend ahead. Nothing like Jersey peaches in the summer. If you're bringing your board down to the shore this weekend, it looks like you'll be quite bored. Not a lot in terms of a swell, but perfect for the boat. Light winds, calm seas, incoming tide to start your mornings this weekend. Keep that in mind as you plan your day of fluking in the back bays and salty rivers in this weekend ahead. Nick Rambo messaged me Monday after heading out of Breezy Lee Marina in Cape May, said he was finally able to get the skunk off his boat all hanked up too. Ended the day with some burly bluefish and plenty of small fluke, including keepers to 4.88 pounds. Nick said, quote, seems the fluking in the back bay is still hot. I actually think this weekend it really heats up. I sneaked off for a keeper on Saturday morning. A lot of shorts, not a lot of bite. Talked to a bunch of friends that I saw on the bay there, the upper Barnegat Bay, said the same thing. It was a slow going when I headed out, but also had water temperatures in the back bay, upper Barnegat Bay, 63 degrees. We have a beautiful weather week this week here, and that should get the temperatures up into some prime fluking degrees. Think upper 60s into the low 70s maybe, let's hope, because I think that's what's going to happen. I know those fluke are in the back estuaries. They're in the back bays. From the Navesink all the way down to Ludlam and Cape May. They're there. I just think the colder water temperatures we've had from this weird spring have given those fluke lockjaw. That changes this week. If you can sneak out before all the tourists arrive, before the crowds come, the jet skis are zipping around, try to get into the water by Friday. I do think it's going to be a great weekend for summer flounder fishing. Weather-wise, some scattered showers in the forecast for the weekend. More so on Saturday, but not a washout by any means. Less than 50% chance of showers any way you look at it. So my fishing forecast for this weekend, we are going to have the first double-digit doormat catch reported here at the Jersey Shore by the time you watch this video until next week's video, or until we cover next week's reports at thefisherman.com. A doormat of 10 pounds or better this weekend. Lock it in. That's ideal for the Fisherman Magazine's Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. For a quick look at the leaderboard, let's head to our virtual studios with Tim Smith.
And now, the Dream Boat Fishing Challenge entries for the week. We received 2 new entries. The first is Rashawn Williams of Brooklyn, whose 2.08 pound porgy places third in the porgy category. Glenn Matern of Pennsylvania entered a 2.46 pound sea robin, placing him in first place in the sea robin category. This entry was larger than Anthony Savino's first place sea robin, knocking him down 1 point. Anthony still commands the first place position with 19 total points with fluke, bluefish, porgy, and weak fish. Second place is Frank Shea, and in third place is Glenn Matern. Remember, you have to be a Fisherman subscriber to enter. To be part of the Dream Boat Challenge, you must be a Fisherman subscriber. You get all the details at thefisherman.com.
Another Fisherman Magazine exclusive is our Coastal Kayak Clash. That's underway now as well. We'll check that leaderboard next and run through some of the upcoming events. But first, my man George looks like he got himself an early start to the Memorial Day weekend. Just as it's busy here at the Jersey Shore this coming weekend, I expect the Pocono Mountains to be pretty busy as well. What do you say, George? What's the Memorial Day weekend look like in the Poconos?
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. Believe it or not, it's warm and it's sunny, and we're here in the Poconos. We haven't seen a day like this in quite some time, and I'll tell you what, I'm out here on the water with my good friend Josh Taylor with Fish Fever Guide Service, and we are trying to get on some stripers today. It's a really good day. The water is just perfect, and we're starting to mark some fish, so hopefully we get on these pretty soon and get a few of these fish in the boat. Now, also here on Beltzville, Frank Bishop, well, he just caught his very first striper out here on the water, first freshwater striper ever. So congratulations, Frank. He actually got it on some cut bluegill. He was out here catfishing and managed to get himself a striper, and he said what a ride that was. So congratulations, Frank. Also up on Wallen Pond Pack, plenty of guys getting into fish as well. We had Fisherman X hammering the stripers up there, slow trolling those LY up there on Wallen Pond Pack, and his niece Isabella Grouper, well, she also got into some fish. This time she got into a beautiful brown trout up there on Wallen Pond Pack. So the fishing is really good. And why not? The water temperatures are perfect. Right here today, we're only at 67 degrees. So still basically in the mid 60s, plenty of a good temperature for all those cold water fish. Now going forward, we also got Eric Goodstall, my trout guru. Yeah, he was out as well finding some of these beastie browns here in those Pocono streams. So again, lots of trout fishing guys if you want to get on them. And Nick Canestra down there in the lower Susquehanna area, hammering those smallmouths as well. So I'll tell you what, guys, there's anything you want to get out on, now is the time, and the weather is finally cooperating. Now also finally this weekend, we got the 26th of May, Sunday, it's Fish for Free Day in Pennsylvania. Get out in the water, no license required. If you want to get into the sport, take a kid out with you and see if we can get them into the sport we love. Guys, I hope you have a great day fishing, but from Beltzville Lake with Josh Taylor, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors Guy.
New Jersey Fisherman subscriber Ken Stark was atop the striper division in the Coastal Kayak Clash last week with a 42-inch striper, but he has since knocked that fish out of the lead with another jumbo. This one 44 inches. That metal lip discussion that we had earlier with Chris and Jenny, well, that's good advice for folks looking to jump ahead in the CKC. With more on that members-only exclusive tournament, we'll go back to the studio and Tim Smith.
Now the latest from the Coastal Kayak Clash. It was a big week in the CKC with 6 fish hitting the leaderboard. We had a sizable weakfish caught by Mike Radzowiski from Massachusetts with a 27.75-inch weakfish. CKC regular Tom Howard from Rhode Island had a 34.5-inch bluefish. New Jersey's Gregory Vergere logged a solid 22-inch fluke. Massachusetts two-time champ Justin Oser nailed a 19.25-inch sea bass. And we had 2 big stripers. Ken Stark boated a 44-incher and Bob Wagner netted a category-leading 45-incher. The top 3 looks like this. Bob Wagner has 3rd place with 3 points. Mike Radzowiski holds 2nd place with 5 points, and Justin Oser continues to impress with 9 points. To be part of the Coastal Kayak Clash, you must be a Fisherman subscriber. Get all the details at thefisherman.com.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
So next week, I'm off to Key West to test out some new gear coming this season from the folks from Penn Reels and Fenwick Rods. Already got a sneak peek last week when Penn's Justin Poe brought his mobile tackle box into town for StriperQuest. Not sure if I'll report back to you from somewhere on Duval Street next week, or if I try to sneak in next week's video from here in Jersey before I depart. But as you're looking ahead to that first weekend in June, quite a few events that are worth a look that you'll find again in the calendar of events and in the news briefs in the June edition of the Fisherman Magazine out this week. You have the Highmar Spring Striper Tournament. That's next Saturday, June 1st. That day is also a free fishing day in New Jersey for folks who are hoping to try out freshwater fishing in the Garden State without a license or trout stamp. You also have the 8th annual Mike Iaconelli Pro-Am Maryland Tournament next Saturday, while the Ragin' Raymond Fluke Tournament in the Great Bay Area, that is next Saturday and Sunday, January 1st and 2nd. Also, Chestnut Neck is hosting their annual Nunzi Bruno Kids Bluefish Tournament. That is a week from this Sunday. Bring the kids over to Chestnut Neck this weekend. Enter. They get a goodie bag, all kinds of great stuff. It's always a great event. Again, for more information, how to, where to, news, calendar of events for the month of June, a hot spot by Tom P., all the latest articles on where to catch that big booming drum this week. It's all right there in your New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition, the June edition of the Fisherman Magazine. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but Alex Whitney shared this post this week of something he retrieved along inshore waters. It's funny, you know, here in New Jersey, we have to buy plastic bags now to put the inserts in those little bathroom garbage cans because we can't use the disposable bags we used to get from the store anymore. That was an effort to reduce litter. Yet the non-fishing folks still release helium-filled balloons in their backyards as if it's not actually littering if it goes up into the sky. If you're heading to the shore to fish this weekend, don't forget your saltwater fishing registration. Enforcement officers in the Garden State this season are out there checking for your registrations this year, and that's good for all of us who aren't scofflaws, miscreants, and balloon releasers. Again, it's free. There's no reason not to register. It's designed to get better data. It's the law. Go to saltwaterregistry.nj.gov. Click on the registration button on the right-hand side of the page. Yeah, you got to fill all that child support information, but once you get into the system for the first time, it gets easier. And of course, you can get your your freshwater license and trout stamp there as well at that same location, saltwaterregistry.nj.gov. Finally, this week, I know it's a little early for Father's Day. That doesn't come until June 16th. But in that June edition of the Fisherman Magazine, I wrote an editor's log on page 3 in the local section. It's called The Perfect Day, Fishing with My Father, Hutch Sr. Now, apparently, it struck a chord because I've gotten several emails already this week, complimentary emails from fishermen subscribers, and I appreciate that. Very important to me, and I'm glad it meant something to the folks who read it. Memorial Day is all about memorializing, but it can also be about making memories as well. Got a message from Aunt Francisco Wednesday morning who said, quote, "Just wanted to share last night's catch. Me and my son got 2 50-inch stripers. He's 8, and his name is Sonny Francisco. Caught on a 15-pound braided line and a light tsunami spinning rod. As I mentioned in the June editorial, another perfect day. A prayer. I sent it out this week, and I'll toast you again on Monday, for the brave men and women who gave the greatest, most ultimate sacrifice to these United States of America. And may the sun and the fish shine on you and your family this holiday weekend." Talk to you next week, either Duval Street or back here at the Jersey Shore. Catch 'em up.